Remember a couple of chapters ago when we wanted to find or the location of any point on a particular plane. And we knew that a collection of points sometimes forms a pattern or an equation, and we're able to describe that pattern in a particular equation. And we would do that by trying to describe on some xy coordinate, or xy plane or Cartesian plane, and we'd have some points x and y. And those x and y's would tell us exactly where a particular point is at. Well, a lot of our graphs now are squigglies and turns and curves and repeating functions, everything that we've discovered in our trigonometry so far. And so I want to introduce to you another way that we can also graph particular points on a plane. And we're going to use a term that we're going to call polar coordinates. And so how to graph something with polar coordinates is fairly straightforward. We just need two items. Likewise before, we just need to know the x and y. Well, now we just need to know an angle and distance. And so I have some polar coordinates defined by its radius and its angle. So let me give you an example of what that might look like. So let's say that I have some axis, and everything's defined by its polar axis. And this one runs horizontal. And then from there, I'm using some angle. So let's say I want to find, I have the polar coordinates 3 and pi over 4. Well, where is that point at? Well, that point is, here's from the origin. I want to go up an angle of pi over 4. And the particular point I'm looking for is 3 units out from there. So what are my units are? 1, 2, and 3. And there is the point 3 and pi over 4. And so that's how we're going to use this idea of polar coordinates to continue on. I also noticed that we want to pay attention, it's very important, if my r is positive or if my r is negative. So let's say, for example, on this example that I did here, 3 and pi over 4, let's say that I have a negative 3. Well, what does that mean? Well, I still go to where my pi over 4 is at. I have my terminal angle directed out into the positive direction, but this time I'm going to back it up 3 units. 1, 2, and 3. And so there I have the point negative 3 and pi over 4. So hopefully that gives us a little bit of context as we move forward this section.